So today I decided I would do a review, not of any comic in particular, but more of a product. About 2 weeks ago I ordered something called Comic Book Starter Kit, which would include 20 bags and boards for modern age comics, a binder, a stand, and one special case for a special comic, which I'll get to in a little bit. First I'll mention what each thing that came in the comic starter pack looked like, and then I'll get to whether it was a good deal or not. Now, figure I'll start right off and mention what the special comic holder is. This. You may not be able to tell what it is if you're new to comics, but this is what's called a top loader. They're typically used for more expensive comics, something a little bit thicker. I've used it for some of my comics which I have signed, like most of my Harley Quinn comics, which you've probably seen on other videos. It also said it came with a display, which is a little piece of cardboard which you punch out and it becomes a little easel to hold the top loader. Now this in itself I don't need and feels kind of useless, so I'm gonna trash it. But the top loader itself, these are expensive and that's what I really like. Now, the 20 comics and pages, they claim to have an adhesive back to them, but I decided just not to use them. I find adhesive back comics that self-stick, they're usually not very good, and I find that tape's a better alternative because tape, typically, if you get a good brand or even a cheap brand, the glue's not very strong. It's strong enough to hold the bag closed, but not enough that it will tear. I've seen some tape that has been used where you just can't open the comic without ripping the protective bag. And there have been instances when I've been younger where I used the wrong type of tape, where the adhesive was too strong, and taking a comic out, it catches on the cover and rips a small piece. That actually happened to what is now a rather valuable comic, which I no longer have that actual issue. I have another copy of it, but it was the first appearance of Carnage, which I believe is now ranging like 50 plus in value. So, magic of editing. You probably noticed the camera shift a little bit. I had to get something that I forgot before making this video. Now with the comic binder, I want to make a comparison with a regular binder about why I got this specific item. I know some people who are new to comics, they usually don't just bag and board their comics. What they will typically do is, I find a lot of them, especially children, they will have a regular school binder, 3-ring binder, I don't remember the dimensions, and they will usually have a plastic sleeve in there with the comic inside. Now, these plastic sheets, one, as you can tell, they're very easy to get dirty. And two, if I could find one around here real quick, unfortunately I put away my comics, so I'll have to get one from right in front of me actually, and show you. Look at all that extra space. Now the problem with that is it's going to shift the comic around. The comic won't stay in very securely. It'll fall out. Even if it's bag and boarded, it still can possibly ding it up. And then you might be asked, let's see, the dimensions as I said. Now, what I like about this comic binder is that, well, the art I don't really care for. It's generic. I do like there's a little plastic where I can put label, whatever. I'm going to relabel it. This is going to go on the shelf. But anyways, notice the size. There's a good size to it. Same height, gonna fit with regular binders, but there's a difference when you look at the inside. Look at the pages. The pages were made to fit comics. D-ring binder, D-rings, so you can turn them easily without worrying about damaging them. Look at the old sleeves, how much they would have stuck out. See, they used the extra room in these binders instead of for the paper edge, they used it for the spine. So right there, so it makes it so much easier to turn your comics. Look how nicely they lay. Now the reason I had got this binder originally was for my sketch covers, which you can see behind me right there. I have quite a few. On that board count them real quick. I believe that's 12 covers. Now, this comic box right here, there were probably quite a few in there, and I had no place to display them. And I wanted a place where if I wanted to show someone or look through them quickly, I could. Hence, why I got the comic binder. And as you can see, I can very easily go through and look at it. In each page, I'm able to hold 2 comics, bag and boarded. See? Here's Defenders. And I also wanted this for one other reason. Because both sides were clear, I'm able to display those covers where I have the back and front sketched. Which I should get to in about right here. Let's adjust that camera down. So you can see here, this Swamp Thing, which obviously you can't see anything until you see the back side. Now this holds completed that I don't have displayed on the wall, and it has a few more pages, and I'm able to flip through it pretty quickly. Now let's get into whether I thought this was a good deal. Now overall, it cost about 20 bucks, but I had 2 gift cards of $5 each, knocking it down to $10. And what I mainly got it for was the album. Now there were 20 modern comic pages and 20 backboards, as well as a top loader. And these themselves you have to pay probably like $2-3 bucks each. The little cardboard display, don't need. Bags and boards, they're relatively cheap. Boards are what usually cost quite a bit. But the little comic pages, from what I've seen individually for the binder, those can be a little costly. So for me, paying 10 bucks, that's a really good deal. 20 bucks, it's alright. I would say for 20 bucks you could probably get 100 bags and 100 boards and probably still have about $8-7 left over, depending whether you ordered it from Amazon or if you got it at your local comic shop. And with that extra money, you could probably buy 1 or 2 comics. Yeah. So it's not bad. It's not a great deal, but for what I paid personally, $10, I'd say that's a really good deal. Mainly for the pages and mainly for the binder. The bags and boards, you know, not a great deal in itself, but I got a top loader and these are expensive and I'm always having trouble get these. I hate getting the mail because sometimes if they're stacked in wrong, they could crack. I have one used somewhere where it's already cracked. So, thank you. And if you're ever going to get into comics, this wouldn't be a bad way to go, but I highly recommend that you go the short box option. BCW, they tend to make almost every comic item for supplies, for storage. The binder I just showed you, that was by BCW. The top loader, BCW. The bags and boards, BCW. They're pretty much the brand to go to.